My name is Joseph Morgan, and I was a DC firefighter for 14 years, and I retired as a lieutenant in 2004. In 1999, I was a driver technician, and I was responsible for driving the wagon. I was assigned to Engine 26. And so the night of the fire, I actually was working on the back step. We had, it was a busy weekend. It was Memorial Day weekend, 1999, and at the time was the hottest weekend on record. So it was pretty busy. Getting on the scene, we came into the block, and there was smoke visible as we were riding into the block. And I remember again, I guess it was the homeowner or someone from the neighborhood ran out into the street. And from past experience, whenever you come into a fire block and someone runs out into the street, it's the real deal. It's the real thing. So she ran out into the street and she was pointing to the house. And on our approach, we actually could see the rear of the structure. I wasn't able to see anything from that point, but then once we pulled into the actual drive, I hopped out and went to the hydrant to lay out the hose. It was Engine 10 that pulled up to pick up our line. I had headed back to the fire company to get dressed in order to enter the building. And on the approach, that's when I was able to see heavy smoke coming out of the front door, and we knew that it was something pretty big, but we didn't know exactly what it was at the time. And so the focus was to secure, because it was reported as a basement fire, to secure the first level and secure the basement door to make sure if any fire was in the basement that it didn't come up into the first level. So that's what our main focus was then, making sure that the residence was out of the home, making sure that the truck company was able to gain entry and start ventilation. We were hit with heavy smoke coming out of the front door. And so as we made our way down the first floor corridor, it was moderate heat, low visibility. We couldn't see anything in front of us. So I basically was backing up the lineman. He was on the nozzle and I was following him down the hallway. And we just felt our way down the wall, entering into the first floor. There was a point in time when we got near I guess we passed the basement door, and we had visibility. I mean, it was pretty clear. I could make out that we were in the living room area. I could see the dinette area, so we had good visibility. So at that point, I realized that we had gone past the fire. We had gone past whatever was producing the smoke. And so we were actually looking for the fire at that time. I was asking my lineman if he had seen anything as of yet, and so we basically were trying to locate the fire at that time. Everything went really, really fast. Everything started to deteriorate really quickly. What I do remember is in searching for the fire, looking over my left shoulder. And once I looked over my left shoulder, I could see what appeared to be a flash of flame coming from a doorway. So I'm presuming from all of the studies that have been done, and I'm looking at the pictures from the results of the fire, that I was actually looking at the basement door, where the flame came through. Once I saw the flash of flame, from that point, everything went pretty quickly. The heat was intense. The visibility was gone. It was. I couldn't even see my hand in front of my face, and the heat was so intense. The only thing I could try to do at the time was try to get away from it. I was pushing probably further into the living room area, trying to move around in my gear to create some kind of barrier between me and the heat. It was pretty intense. From that point, I had actually, in an attempt to move away from the heat, had lost connection with the hose line. And I was asking my partner at the time, Lou Matthews, if he still had the hose. And he as well had lost the hose line. So at that point, it was a matter of trying to find the hose line, because I know that that's our way out, making sure that we had a nozzle so that we can try to cool the room down. And I was telling him that, you know, we really needed to make our way out because something had gone really wrong. I didn't know exactly what it was at the time. The heat was like a blanket. I mean, it was just on top of us. It was not moving at all. And there was an eerie quiet in the room. I don't know how to describe it, but it became so quiet that you can hear the plastic in the room crinkling from the heat. Shortly after that, I heard screams coming from my left side. It was obviously an unmuffled scream, so I didn't take it to be a firefighter. I just thought maybe it was a resident from upstairs. And the screams were pretty intense, and they were coming towards me. So at that point, it was a matter of survival and protection. I grabbed my face piece, my helmet, knelt down so that it wouldn't get knocked off. And shortly after that, I heard a thud as though someone had fell, and I started to search for the hose line. And once I found the nozzle, I rolled on my back and I tried to cool down the room. Everything that I've ever read or has been described of a room getting ready to flash, the flashes of the heated gases at the ceiling level were happening, and I just knew that at some point in time the room was going to flash. So I was able to shoot a hose stream up to cool it down a little bit, and enough for me to crawl out and follow the hose line out. Unfortunately, I was thinking that Lou, my partner at the time, was finding his way out as well. And so once I got outside of the building, I was telling the guys out front where to find him. They were cooling me down. I was in the bus heading to MedStar, so I don't remember much from that aspect. At the time, you know, the science was very new. The technology was, it was just being developed, but it gave a lot of understanding to what actually happened and why it happened the way it did. And if you, when we followed what they had actually created, it just, it made a lot of sense. We've done everything as firefighters from experience. The things that had happened in the past, and we would try to alleviate those things from happening in the future. But unfortunately, with the amount of synthetic fuels that are introduced into the homes now, the way the homes are being built now, it changes the way that we have to perceive fires, and changes the way that we have to actually react to fires.